Okay, so let's start at the beginning of Ben.
Okay, so like I guess when he first came onto Reddit or like as Hghost, I guess.
Yeah,
Or
when he kind of stepped into the scene on the original subreddit.
yeah. So I remember it was like early September-ish probably. And he just like came in asking a question about like I think it was DNA on Maddie or something like that. And he was saying, I just found out about the case from TikTok or whatever. Right. So he's like, even though he's been on Reddit for like 11 freaking years or something like that.
He wasn't discussing it here.
Yeah. So I definitely have a feeling he might have been lurking somewhere on a different, you know, whatever. Anyways, that's another story for another day. um, yeah, and so then I don't know because I had already like stuff was kind of getting weird already in the subreddit. It was kind of getting it was like really unmoderated and just kind of getting like a little bit out of control. So I messaged that mod and asked them for help or whatever, and then they didn't want help, and so I made evidence, right? And so then Hghost started coming over there and like he had found like Jen's live journal, I think, or whatever. He shared that, whatever. And he was, we started seeing him just like kind of posting everywhere and posting all these, he just became like really active overnight almost, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know if this was prior to him getting in control, like when he was actually handed mod status. I really don't know exactly when that happened, but he was involved to an uncomfortable degree in the subreddit where you couldn't post something, comment on something, you couldn't say anything without him popping up and chiming in, directing the conversation to go in a specific way, kind of like this
Mm-hmm.
tone policing thing. And he was always had something to pipe up with.
Yeah.
And so that was probably the original red flag where it's like, hey, this guy's a little strange.
Yeah.
And then the red flags in terms of content began. And this was after he had actually solidified a mod position, and still, it's a mystery how this was able to happen.
Yeah. It just
If
seems like he was like, well, I just answered the thing. And I'm like, okay. And then you just get like full mod permissions and you're the only one. That doesn't seem, somebody that's not even been somebody that's been active in this like community for like a week and a half, you know, like,
right, like it was
and
just
I know,
given to him of all
yeah.
people.
And I know like I reached out to like that pink dragonfly person and I was like, do you need help moderating? Because like people are like, where's the mods? Like it seems like you're not like here. Do you need help? Whatever. And I know like other people did that too. But then like, pick someone that's like just joined the group. Like what the heck?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just so happens to have all these skeletons in the closet too.
Yeah. I don't know. And I always remember him like somehow angling it back to like his own trauma or his, like
the the poem post where he was kind of probing, like, oh, should I send this poem I wrote to the Wallaces? I wrote it in the point of
oh
view
my
of
gosh.
Maddie in heaven. Like, what? That's not right.
I know.
And
And
then
somebody was like, no, please don't. Like, please don't do that. Please do not. I was like, thank God for that person.
yeah,
He's like, I hope people can't be nice about it or whatever. It's like, what?
that's right. Yeah, my fear is some people can't play nice.
Hmm. Like,
Like, oh, having no boundaries is being nice.
yeah, being like
Y-
weird. Like, sorry for like
yeah.
saying something when something makes us feel uncomfortable or like that's you know.
And then there was the, sharing the artwork of Maddie, which, I mean, we've
Hmm.
all seen the Flickr page.
Yes, it's like in the
Um,
exact same style. And like he did that with Abby and Libby too. And he put like
yes.
one of their friends, like some random ki kid that's just like adjacent to like their friends got murdered. And like you're just gonna put them in this picture, draw a picture of them. It's just so weird. But it's all that weird same style.
It's
Strange. Yeah.
ugly. Yeah, it is very strange. And
Yeah.
then he got the baby pictures of Maddie,
Hmm.
and that was when it became clear that he had some sort of connection, because the particular pictures that he got, and he put, he watermarked them with his Reddit username.
Yeah.
No one else had those images at that point. Now they've done the rounds through the Facebook groups, but like nobody had those pictures at the time, not
No,
the
exactly.
the media. So it's like, where did these come from? And
I think was
they
the
had to have,
pictures after or before like the not pregnant thing?
I think it was before,
Okay.
because the whole not pregnant post was really close to the breaking point.
Yeah, that's just like strange though, like that he just did all that so quick. Like he's getting baby pictures, getting all this like insider info. I mean, we know how he got it, but it's just like I don't know. It was all just so strange. And I remember people wondering if like the family was part of the mod team at that point.
It did feel that way.
Yeah. But I don't know. I remember the not pregnant like thing. That's when like that news happened. I don't know.
Yeah, the
I had such a bad gut feeling about it, but then I reached out to Jenny and she just like, you know, did her thing and like fooled me, and said, "Yeah, we support him and we promote him and he's been,
he's been
he's good.
vetted.
Yeah, go for it." And like, his face and everything's on, Facebook. It would have been way easier to find out who he is on Facebook than it would have been for us here on Reddit, It would have been just as easy, basically.
Right. Yeah, the only
Almost more
reason
easy, I
we
feel
were
like.
able to even connect his identity is because he left the trail of breadcrumbs. I mean,
Hmm. Like 10 years of it. That's so crazy.
it was crazy. And even before the whole fake not pregnant thing with the prosecutors,
Hmm.
he had that weird list of banned words.
Yeah, and then they tried to say it was like an accident or blame it on some other mod who was just like testing something. I can't remember what the dumb excuse was, but couldn't say
It,
dad and like it had Tatiana, like it had like their names and everything, like specific names and like really weird words that I wouldn't even think to put in there, like sexually explicit type stuff that I wouldn't even think, to put
it
in
was
it.
the most bizarre
Yeah.
list of words. Like, you clearly couldn't talk about the Wallaces, because you can say mom, but you can't say stepmom. You
Yeah.
can say stepdad, but you can't say dad. Like, what is going on here? And then all of the weird words, like, I didn't even want to repeat them. They were just like, nobody was saying those words.
Yeah. I don't know. No one said that in my sub for Maddie, so everybody just behaves. So for some reason,
Yeah.
yeah,
So this is like a handful of red flags. This isn't one or two red flags. This is a whole lot of red flags.
yeah. And I remember, oh, another red flag is like I remember when he was trying to post the not pregnant thing in my subreddit, and I don't know, it got caught in a filter or something, and I don't know. He's like, "Why can't I post in your subreddit?" I was like, "What is going on?" Like he was so like
Entitled.
authoritarian about, yeah. It was
Yeah.
strange. But he had that same thing. We need to call her Madeline. Like, don't call her Maddie. All
Yes, I
this
forgot
shit.
about that one. Let's say her name.
Yeah, the strangest rules ever. Like, yeah. But the thing is, when Jay was kind enough to show us her messages with Ben on Facebook, I noticed quite a few red flags that he dropped in there, like saying that
Mm,
he was he's like, "Do you know about the Delphi case?" Like I was involved in investigating that, like
oh
acting
my
like he's like a detective or some shit, first of all. And then he's like, but I had to change my name from on Facebook to this one from my legal name because I was getting death threats, which like she didn't even respond to that. And I'm like, girl, you like I would be asking for context with that. I'd be like, what happened? She just like, okay, just leaves it on red. I'm like, all right, girl.
getting death threats.
Strange. Yeah, from like investigating the Delphi case. I'm like, were you being weird over there were you being weird there too,
Right.
buddy? Like, I don't freaking know. It's just, I feel like she ignored a lot of stuff too. So,
Yeah, they had to have ignored things, because there's just no way for that person to present as normal.
yeah. And like a lot of the same stuff he was posting in the Reddit, he would have been posting in the Facebook group, but it's all been like deleted by Jenny now. So I only got a couple before they got, you know,
Mm,
but he was, like the same, let's call her Madeline, like other things, posting the same kind of stuff there as well.
right. Yeah. And their answer to everything is, delete, ignore,
Yeah. So they just
just
scrubbed it
pretend it didn't
all.
happen.
Yeah. But
There was,
there are still a lot of people in the Facebook group that are posting and commenting that give, similar vibes. But so I don't really know if they care that much or if they just wanted to scrub Ben's existence. But, you know.
Mm.
Anyways, back to Jay.
So she's had this guy kind of orbiting her page for a while. He's commenting a lot. He's got himself a membership. They're talking, whether it's text or WhatsApp or whatever, and he's sending her merch designs.
Yeah, like the rainbow guilty of crime that we've all seen, you know. It's pretty much that, which she says
Yes.
he doesn't own the rainbow and blah 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 blah. But she also showed us those messages of him sending those to her and him being like, "You don't have to pay me, you can just use whatever." She's like, "Okay, send them to me." Blah blah blah. So,
But
you
it's like
know,
the exact picture that he
yeah,
made. It's not like another rainbow, iteration of
yeah.
the logo. It was like
Maybe she
down
just
to the
like,
pixel.
yeah, I remember she was like asking for like AI enhanced or something. I can't remember. She wanted it like different.
Mm.
And he was like, it's JPEG or whatever. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look at the messages, which um, say that, but it seemed like she wanted it enhanced or something. So I almost wonder if she just like enhanced it or like fancied it, like put, changed it, like tweaked it so much that we can't tell the difference, But she's like, oh,
Right.
it's not the same one because I, enhanced it or something, made it better quality.
I ran it through a filter. It's a
Yeah, fair
different
use to
image
my
now.
know. Yeah.
I mean, it still, carries the energy of him creating it. Like, why go through all this effort to preserve it? It's just so weird to me.
Just because she's too lazy to like create stuff on her own anymore.
Yeah.
But and then I remember the whole Tracy situation. That
Yeah.
got pretty unhinged too. I remember like I remember Ben like posting some information on there that was like doxing, Tracy and like getting stuff deleted. It was just really hectic. I remember one time he even asked like, is sharing Stefan's like Instagram, is that doxing? And we're like, no, dude. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. The Tracy situation I find endlessly troubling.
Mhm.
We see that Stefan Stearns is receiving this payment of $50,
Yeah,
and
it was so
he's
random, the payment as well.
so random, and he's declared indigent. This is not a necessary fee to have to be paid. Like, this fee doesn't get paid, nothing happens,
No,
there's
because
no
it seems like
consequence.
she got like a refund, right? Or that's what she said. I don't know if we have like documentation
I
that it got refunded, but allegedly.
Right, there's not a whole lot of answers. There's more questions
Yeah,
than
it just got
answers.
dropped. Like,
And then
Ben
everyone forgot
overshadowed
about the Tracy
everything.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jay gets this exclusive interview where Tracy comes on and does a little webcam interview, and oh
Yeah.
yeah, my credit card got hacked, and then everything just disappears. It's like, oh really, your credit card got hacked and someone paid a $50 fee that didn't need to be paid for a high profile criminal in prison? Like, no, that
Yeah,
doesn't.
it doesn't, yeah, make it make sense. It doesn't.
But everyone accepted the story at face value, dropped it, and moved on.
Yeah. Well, maybe
I,
we
I have
should
not seen any other
revisit that.
creator go back and really parse through this Tracy situation, and it bothers me because Hghost was her contact. He was who brought Tracy in. Who, right?
Yeah, he really fumbled. He really fumbled that. Thanks, Hghost. Great. But maybe we can revisit it. I don't know. Maybe she'd
I
be
would
willing
love
to talk
to.
again.
I would love to revisit it because it will just always bother me. But yeah, so there was the Tracy situation, and then there was the whole situation where he was constantly promoting Guilty of Crime
Yes, and
on
like,
the subreddit, and then
yeah,
shit talking people like Strategic.
yeah, allowing like bashing posts of like, targeting other
Yes.
creators and stuff. It got pretty crazy.
Yes. And you know what? I think that was the actual breaking point. There was a thread that he posted that was like, since there's been a lot of, hate
Negative
talk.
attention. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, that
yeah,
was it. There's been a lot of negative attention surrounding certain channels. Let's bring some positive attention to some other channels. Check out Jay at Guilty of Crime. She's the
yeah.
best. And in the subreddit rules, it's like, well, no, no self promotion.
Yeah. Yeah. Moderators aren't supposed to do stuff, it's like transactional. Like, not supposed to do things on the subreddit that like you get something out of it, like whether it's monetary or, usually, but it's just like you know, her stuff is getting posted on the subreddit and like the subreddit's being promoted over on her channel. It's like, it was like a whole deal. The same thing with the Facebook page. Like they were all trying to like maximize as many like members and followers as they could.
And she hated Reddit.
Yeah.
For as long as I can remember, she has always bashed on Reddit. It's the worst. I hate Reddit as a platform. Reddit sucks, this and that. And then Hghost shows up, and now Reddit's the best thing out there.
Yeah, it's
And she's like,
reputable.
come on, man.
Yeah.
So Reddit was clearly a means to an end for her to get more
Yeah.
subscribers to
And
her channel.
she had even created a guilty of crime subreddit.
I
And
remember
yeah,
that.
I don't know like what happened to it. If it's like I think it went private or
Oh,
something last time I checked. Like
uh-huh.
obviously she ditched it, but she obviously tried to like gain a following on Reddit as well. But yeah, and then I remember we just all started like messaging each other. Like I remember like Van messaged me, you did, like everybody,
Yes.
and then we all started chatting. Like trying to figure out who Ben was.
Yeah, we all considered the sub as a loss at that point. Like, this guy's
Yeah,
got a hold of it. He's doing weird stuff with it. And we're starting to go through his post history. We're seeing all of these selfies, and he looks kind of suspicious.
yeah, and then like I remember at one point was it his Twitter that he shared like a
It
link
was the
for one of his
Twitter.
Twitter. Hmm.
Linked to his Reddit profile.
Yeah, which had his like full legal like his legal name in it, and then all it took was a Goog,
That's
and
all it
then
takes.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
his full name was listed on his Twitter account, and you put the Twitter account into Google, and the RSO information at the time, it was like the third result.
yeah, no, this
And
was
like
insane.
the pictures matched the selfies that he was posting on Reddit. The selfies matched what was on Twitter. I mean, this was the
Yeah,
person.
Facebook,
It was
all of
him.
it. Yeah, so I thought it
And
was we had all the information backing. And so
y-
after that, we all went and we told, we all branched off to tell different people. So, you know, and so the OG sub, like Madeline Soto, they said that we knew for like what 2 whole days before we told
right,
them, which is like absolutely not true. We told like as soon as we found out, we were like, okay, so we need to go tell everybody, right?
it was immediate. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it wasn't like we were just trying to post. They said we were trying to like spam the post, but it's not like we didn't try to reach out through messaging, like direct messaging everybody or like
And
Monmail or whatever.
how would they even know what we know
Yeah.
without knowing it themselves?
Yeah. So, but I remember they were all trying to clean stuff up that same day, like YOLO and whatever, all the other mods that were there. Like there was a lot of stuff
Mhm.
going on behind the scenes where they were trying to clean stuff up. So to act like they didn't know is just pretty crazy.
Well, and
But
then they called us bad actors and
oh
criticized
yeah, and
us for
unsafe
not coming
people.
to them.
Yeah, which like we did. We went to everybody. I immediately told Jenny, told Bree, I guess then Bree or Jenny, and then Bree, I guess, didn't see me. And so Jenny told her, and then Jay found out. And she said she didn't want to deal with it or whatever. So,
Yep, it was the weekend. She was out with the family. I
mhm,
don't want to deal with it.
yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know. And then I guess after that, they, I guess, didn't trust us and said that, I remember Jenny saying, well, 2 days later, we found him on the registry. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's exactly the link that I sent you. That he was on like I sent you, he was on the registry. I'm like, it's all over his Reddit and stuff. Like,
Is he like trying to pretend that she
yeah,
was the one who discovered it?
I
Like,
haven't. It's so, and she's like, well, can I credit you for like for giving me this information because she went live or whatever, and she didn't credit me at all. So I was like, okay, well, why'd you like? Not that I care, but it's like, why did you ask? She's just very like, it's just it's all very strange to me. And then Jay was saying Bree figured it out, and it's all like, well, no, like they they didn't,
right. It's not about claiming credit. It's not about like some sort of street cred or whatever.
No,
It's about being honest and truthful and transparent
factual,
and
yeah,
representing reality,
exactly. We have to be like the truth about it.
being
Like it just needs to be
factual.
factual, yeah, It's just how it happened. It's just how it is. I just don't. And other people are manipulating, it's like they manipulate it to make themselves look better, you know? So they're just like manipulating it to their benefit. That's the only reason why I feel like, I just feel like it's not like just not knowing what happened or being like misinformed. I feel like it's intentional, you know?
It
So,
is. Yeah, no
yeah.
good deed goes unpunished. I mean, what is our crime? Researching red flags of a concerning individual and positively identifying him as a dangerous person?
Yeah. Sorry.
Is is that,
Oops.
is that
My
what we're
bad.
guilty of?
Yeah. Sorry. Won't happen again. Just kidding.
It
Watch
did
out.
happen again.
Yeah. Oh my
We weren't the ones
gosh.
who discovered it, but yeah, Adam drives Helen. So they had, that's the
Yeah.
thing, two registered sex offenders
Hmm.
with crimes against children in the community, and there's no addressing this.
Yeah. And
That
that's what Jay wanted to do. Like, she got away with it the first time, just ignoring it and not saying shit about it, you know? And then she would have done that again this time if we would have like shut up, if we didn't say anything, if people weren't bothering her about it or saying shit about it.
right, because now 9 months later, she's posting, "Who wants to see this guy locked up for infiltrating the Madeline Soto subreddit?" It's like,
Yeah.
okay, Jay, well, where was that energy last October?
Yeah, she hasn't cared at all. She like just didn't. She was like, have Gothic Bree deal with it, you know? Yeah, and then like told her what to, was like, that's not good enough. Say this instead or whatever. It's like, oh, anyways, it's just really frustrating. So yeah, I mean, I don't even see how people think we've gained anything at all. Like, in fact, it's been like the opposite since then. Like, it's been like,
Absolutely. Gained absolutely nothing.
yeah. So I
Just
don't
been
know.
been called, I've been accused of being Ben himself
Yeah, we all like it's
or
we've all
working for
gotten,
him.
yeah.
So how exactly are we working for Ben? In which way do our actions benefit Ben?
I don't know. It's giving like conspiracy theory like vibes, like, oh well, like it was we planned to like out him so that all, we would be like more low key so people wouldn't suspect us of working with him or whatever. Like it's just like, why would we do that? Why would Ben want himself outed? Why would we, it's logically it doesn't make sense, but they want it to be like a deeper, crazy conspiracy. Like, that's kind of how they can be in like their other like the people who are accusing us. Like it kind of seems like that's how they are in like the content that they make and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, they get kind of wildly speculative. So I feel like same with us, I guess. Same with this situation. So
Yeah. It's so crazy. I feel like there's this reluctance to be humble and have humility, and it's just like this strange fight of the ego that they
yeah.
have, where they can't be wrong ever about anything,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
very
everyone
strange.
else's fault, and there's 20 different accounts that Ben is operating from, and it's got like Charlie's Angels and like,
Yeah. But then it's
come
like they
on.
miss, and then at the same time, they miss all of his like his Facebook stuff, like going back. Like I've found so much stuff going back. He has two Twitter accounts, like he has that Flickr. Like people are like, well, he just disappeared from the internet. It's like, no, he
No,
still has Instagram. He
he's
still
still
has,
posting.
yeah, he's still, even on everywhere. Like he just doesn't have the Hghost account or the haunted one anymore, but he has all of his other old accounts still. He's still in one of the other Maddie Soto Facebook groups. He's still in
Yep.
there, like under his
But they're not
name.
looking at that. They're looking at
No,
us. They're looking at the
exactly.
subreddit. They're looking at people who are being critics,
Yeah.
who are
And
being
like,
critical of their
yeah.
actions.
And they don't know like the first thing about Ben. They don't know. And they like act like, oh, I have the whole story. And I'm like, we're going to find him and all this stuff. And it's like, we already found him though. And like, you guys aren't doing a great job. You haven't found a lot of the other stuff either. It's like, what exactly, like, what are the motivations? Like, it doesn't seem like, I feel like they have like a thought already. Well, this is how it is. So I'm going to find the evidence to support what I think versus
Right.
following the breadcrumbs
Backwards logic.
actually. Yeah.
They're working
Yeah.
from the conclusion that they've already
Yeah.
decided is the truth. Right.
Yeah. Which is, not a good. not a good way to investigate at all. So
Right. Like if I have an enemy, it must be a pedophile. If I have
yes,
someone who's criticizing me, well, I must be being
yeah,
targeted by Ben.
exactly. With Krish, I don't mean to bring, we're getting kind of like off the sidetrack of Ben, I guess, kind of, but it's just, it all started because I think it was like with sevoflurane or whatever, he had some like theory, and we were just
Uh-huh.
like, we were just like basically just saying why we thought it wasn't, that logically sound. And like, that's when he said, he like, I had a feeling about this moderator and then all these people that were disagreeing with me. He's like, that just like rubbed me the wrong way. And she didn't tag my video in her post. And I'm like, bro, that's what started all this, you know? It's like,
Yeah,
why
I
does
feel like
that
he took
upset
that
you so
personally.
much? Yeah. And it's like not personally, like at all. It's,
Right. That's
yeah.
again where like the ego is coming before being factual and being having, intellectual integrity.
Yeah.
Someone is allowed to disagree with your theory. And just because, you're Grish and make all of these, trippy videos that are
Hmm.
too deep for me doesn't mean you're always right. Like you're not like
Yeah.
this, like this, you're not a genius.
No, he's not an
Okay.
expert, like at all. And like sometimes he's like, well, in my expert opinion, like he acts like he has like some expertise in like criminal behavior or some shit, which is like, I
That's
don't
not
know,
true.
not very accurate. I remember like there's one post where he's like the letter, the poem that Stefan wrote
Oh, uh-huh.
in jail. Yeah, that was found in his Bible in his jail cell, written in
Yeah.
pen or whatever. And so Chris was like, absolutely not. There's no way this is written in prison. Like the pen, it's written with pen and there's no pens in jail. And then, that table that they took a picture on, that definitely doesn't look like a table that they would take a picture on and like for evidence. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then we find out later, like, obviously, where they found it, you know?
Right.
And it's just, but he's like sitting there, like telling people they're dumb and saying, well, I have all this expertise. And they're like, well, actually, every place is different and has different rules. And like, maybe if he's doing legal stuff, he could have a pen, la 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 la. He should know that as an expert, you know?
Yeah.
So,
There's something so uncomfortable about like the assertion that this is my theory and you cannot question it. My
yeah.
theory is true, my theory is correct, and if you argue with it, well, then you're an idiot.
Yeah. And there's a ton of people that just eat it up too because they think, it's like the most brilliant stuff they've ever done. Or like Jay is like the most, empathetic, like caring person. And she does it all for the victims and she's so great. They just like eat it all up at the same time. But they're using that to it, like the advantage to attack people, because people, they have all these like blind followers and they're just like, yeah, they just like eat up all these like cyberbullying type statements and stuff. They just like they go for it. It's crazy.
It is bizarre how eager everyone is to eat it up and to not question anything, be critical about anything, think for themselves about something.
And they just like join in on like the harassment, like, and like when she's sitting there calling us all old hags and like meth heads with no teeth or whatever, alcoholics that live in our mom's basement, whatever,
Hmm.
and they're just like, haha, yeah, and like saying the same shit in the comments. It's like, whoa. And then she does a stream about anti-bullying and people are like, don't be mean. They all act like they're like anti-cyberbullying. And that's so mean that they're doing this to you, Jay. And I can't believe they did this. And it's like, whoa. Weren't
The
y'all just
pity
like,
party.
yeah. It's like, weren't you guys just like doing this all like this basically cyberbullying people, like the trolls and like what happened to that? It's just crazy.
Their knuckles are dragging on the
Yeah,
ground
basically
and
comparing
all.
us to apes or like gorillas or something.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that like really, that's like really rude. I'll just say.
Yeah, and all the, all I have to do is put a hit out, and
Yeah, that's
the overt
crazy.
threats, and
Yeah.
calling everyone pedophiles,
Hmm. Yeah,
you
it's really,
know. Oh, but now this, the Michaela Raines thing happens, and now it's her turn to step up and also be a victim.
hmm
And It's just
Not even the
bizarre.
same thing, but
Yeah,
yeah.
not even close, but just the fact that she's willing to exploit a story that she's covering to, kind of make her own.
Yeah, she did that with that other, like those two creators. The one like followed him and shot him during a live stream. Remember,
Oh,
she did the
yep.
same thing.
It's the exact same thing as you're going through, Jay.
Yeah, she did that same. She's like, yeah, I really, he was like attacking him. He went and got his channel taken down. It's like, that sounds familiar. Like someone attacking someone's channel and trying to get everything taken down.
Right. So
Where have I
she
seen
she
that happening
reports
before? Yeah,
reports my channel and gets all my videos taken down. Oh,
yeah,
now I want to do the same thing to her with her logic.
yeah. Crazy. And
Unbelievable.
even one of her followers was like, "Yo, Jake, this like kind of seems like kind of threatening considering like what's been going on lately." Like she's like, "No, it's not. I'm just warning people. I'm just warning people this is what could happen if you cyberbully and you harass people." I'm like, "How is that? You're warning us." So that's like this is a vague threat again. That's all she does.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What are you warning us of,
But
Jay?
she's like, "No, no, no, this isn't a threat." Like she had to keep saying it in her live. I'm like, this is the mental gymnastics like happening right in front of my eyes was just, I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Right. Meanwhile, one creator has a history of posting lots of gun selfies, posing with
Yes.
the guns, loading the guns on social media, and the other
Yes.
creator doesn't.
And the same thing with like we got her Patreon taken down, like or whatever too. Like it wasn't that she broke like terms of service.
Right.
So and she broke it. I was on her Patreon. She broke it in like multiple ways. Yeah. So the Patreon. Yeah, that was like our fault too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, our fault for using copyrighted material and
Posting those like the mass shooting videos, like the Buffalo one, like that's
uh-huh.
like they're pretty liberal with like certain types of true crime content like body cam, crime scene photos like is one thing, but when it's like something that can be like a mass shooting like that that's racially targeted is like a terroristic thing, and he made that video to like inspire other people, so that's something that
Right.
most, like the mass killers subreddit, like here, on Reddit, you can't post the manifestos, you can't post the videos, like you can't do it, like most
Right.
places don't let you do that. So, that was another one. I can't remember what else. Yeah, the news, taking other people's writings. She took that one person's like whole blog post, like
Uh-huh.
on John Bonet.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So, but then, that was our fault. Like we just like reported stuff and like that's not how Patreon works. They're gonna review stuff. They're not just gonna take you down.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, she has like the John Benet Ramsey autopsy photos on her Patreon,
Hmm.
but it's like
Yes.
how is that exclusive content? I mean, anyone can access those images.
Yeah, they're everywhere. And like
So
same thing with Travis Alexander. We can find those anywhere.
yes.
Basically anything on her Patreon, none of it's exclusive except for Stefan Stearns naked with, that
Right,
one.
which
Probably could have gotten her taken down too, because it would be considered like involuntary, intimate media, I guess. Right?
yes.
Yeah, even though like, I'm not like I don't really care about his privacy or whatever, but like still that's like a wild thing to do. And I remember her saying like, "Oh, if I could if I could do this to Jen Soto, like I would." I'm like, "Whoa." Like you would just
Yes, that's a crazy statement
you would
too.
just like revenge porn her. That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah,
but
so
that was
she's
our fault.
charging people for
Yeah.
this content. It's like false advertising because she's not providing them with anything.
Yeah. No.
And then
Oh,
got banned, and then she made a second one, and
yes,
that
which is like
was
that's like
ban evasion.
yeah, you'll get like permabanned for that. Like they don't fuck around with that. Like you have to wait and go through like a process if you want to like reinstate. So, but she's like, it's good. I talked to Patreon. I'm like, girl, no, you did not. Like you did not, or else you wouldn't be making like a second Patreon. You'd know that this would get you. They would be like, don't fucking do that. They'd be like, don't you dare.
Right.
So it's just strange. I don't know, but she always has to blame somebody else. She'll do that with this Hghost thing again. Like she's not going to tell the same story, the right story. No, she's just going to paint it however it makes her look better, and some way to throw us under the bus still, because
Definitely.
we haven't stopped.
because
So
everything we've discussed, we have screenshots. Like, there are ways to corroborate the things that we are saying. There are
yeah,
posts that are archived with the date on them.
I don't
So
know.
Jay is going to release her Hghost piece
Yeah.
on Tuesday. Oh, but that's allowed. Grime Watch is not allowed to talk about finding Hghost.
She's, the first one to do everything. She's probably gonna say she was the first one who talked about it. And that she's the first one that did the Maddie Soto case. She's the first one. La, la, la. I've been here since the beginning
I mean,
of
we
the
have
Hghost.
messages from Jenny admitting to not knowing about
Yeah.
his RSO status and, oh, I wish this was a dream. This can't be true, blah, blah, blah. Okay,
Yeah.
so we know Jenny didn't figure it out.
No. And then
And
she even
then,
she even said she had to do more research. She said, "The 2 days later we confirmed it." I'm like, girl,
yeah, good job, genius.
nailed it. Good job. Yeah, she's not. But then Bree had to go do her. She went. She double checked her sources too. And
Mm-hmm.
then so Jay found out. Like I bet they all found out that day. You know, I don't know. I guess it took Jenny an extra day, but whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and we told the mods, we told everybody, we had posted about it everywhere. So, like, everybody was informed. So, I don't,
Shame on us, you know?
yeah, exactly. So, that's how it happened. And so, whatever you hear on Jay's channel, I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, we just wanted to talk about true crime together. We just wanted to follow this case to trial and see Maddie get justice. And like, we ended up here, like, against our own will. We just like fell down this rabbit hole we can't get out of, but like we can't ignore it either. So
Right.
it would just be
Right.
cool
Yeah.
if more people got on board.
I
So,
would love to see more people get on board. I mean,
yeah,
what kind of people would we be if we witnessed this and just didn't do anything?
exactly. That's not justice for Maddie when
No.
she's being exploited or any other victims, that they cover. They're trying to, help or, I've heard a lot of things that are very concerning, just, if you're going to say you're for the victims and all this stuff, like maybe just, I don't know, educate yourself and actually be for the victims. And when like people are telling you like, hey, this is like not this isn't really okay. Like,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Because do Jay's actions align with justice for Maddie or do they align with justice for Jay?
yeah,
She wants to see her own justice for whatever perceived wrongs
mhm,
and completely forget about what Maddie went through.
yeah.
And
She
seeing
wants to be the hero in whatever way she can or whatever.
she does. And really watching him take over her subreddit and foul it up, that
Hmm.
was another injustice acted against her
Hmm.
memory, and
Yeah, and like talking to get him being in contact with her family, like intimate stuff
the
being shared.
Wallaces. Yep.
Yeah, it's just like, but it's something we should have expected more, considering like I don't know, there's a lot more Bens out there than I think we realize, working in places, especially in true crime areas.
Yeah, and you know what? I do expect it. I never expected it to be so, like, it's almost like he wanted to be caught.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
if he wanted to do this without being caught, he wouldn't have connected his Twitter account to his Reddit account.
yeah. Or I don't know if he just got to the point where like no, if he just felt so like untouchable, like maybe
Mm-hmm.
because when was his arrest again? We're going on maybe like 5, maybe 6 years ish since the first charge that we could
2018 or
see.
something like that.
Yeah, maybe 2018 and then 2020. There's like two different ones. I don't know. California's hard to get records from, so hopefully I
Right.
can figure that out as soon as possible. I'll just have to probably snail mail him, see what happens. But yeah, so it's like it's been so long, and it's like maybe he's just like gotten to the point where he's been blending in so well, and he's off parole, and he's like allowed his like internet thing. So I wonder
Mm-hmm.
like how long he's just been getting away from it to the point where he just got sloppy, maybe again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it had to have been just being sloppy
Yeah, or
because
the ego was too big that he couldn't like help not getting like the attention like directed actually towards him. Like his
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he definitely wanted to be part of it.
Yeah, you
And
know.
unfortunately, he managed to do that.
Yeah, he took control over all of it. Even when my like the evidence subreddit, even like when I stopped letting him post in there, like I blocked him. I didn't like ban him. I think I put him on like a blacklist or something. So I don't know, but he was like, "Well, she wouldn't approve of any of my posts in there." So I went over and made the evidence sub or whatever, and he's like, "It's not a direct copy." And it's like, "Yeah, it is," but he just wanted to like he couldn't control the narrative. We wouldn't let him control the
Yeah.
narrative over there. So he made a copycat to try and like get people over there. And people were actually getting confused, like, wait,
Yep.
which one? Like, and it's obviously causing confusion, and that's what he wanted to do is like trick people into like going over to his and not,
Yes.
and Jay was promoting that one too and saying, this one's safe. I don't know if the other ones are safe. I
This
don't know
one
if they're
run by the
accurate. Yeah.
pedophile. This is the safe one.
Yeah.
I don't know about those other
The one
ones.
that says Maddie Soto evidence. I don't know if we can trust the information in there. I don't know if it's going to be fact based. Like that's the whole thing, girl.
But
It's like our
she
vibe.
she vetted him and his content to her audience of
Yes.
20,000 people without knowing. She just said it was vetted. She didn't vet
Yeah.
it. She just said, "Oh, yep, this is vetted."
Yep. Same with Jenny. That's exactly what she told me too. And I just hated that. I don't know. And she like made herself, she's in all these news articles, all this stuff. So like, I'm not gonna sit there and do a deep dive right away. Like I just like assume it's, like, okay, I guess this is legit. Like, if you're working with legit news media,
Mhm.
she seems to have like worked her way into legitimacy somehow. So
Somehow.
yeah, so I believed her and like shame on me.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, I would say it was Jenny's responsibility more so than Jay's.
yeah, it definitely,
Not
yeah.
that Jay doesn't have any responsibility. She definitely has responsibility to address it to her audience and make them
Hmm.
aware.
Yeah, but
But
Jenny's like making herself like the face of like justice for Maddie, like
she's
community advocate. She's trying to make
putting
herself seem like a
herself,
professional.
yeah, she's putting
Mhm.
herself in the front lines of this and then failing. And then when she fails by letting in this pedo, it's just kind of, well, that's everyone else's problem, not Jenny's. That's not part of the advocacy.
Yeah.
It's the advocacy stuff that she wants is with the cameras and shaking the hand of the mayor and getting all the donations and all the
Hmm.
stuffed animals, and whenever the news crews are there and she wants to be interviewed. That's the kind of
Yeah.
advocating for Maddie that Jenny wants to do.
Yeah.
When a pedophile infiltrates her Reddit group, well, that's just not part of the advocacy anymore.
Yeah. No. And he was a moderator for her Facebook group as well. And so,
Yes, he
yeah, so he's
was.
posting all stuff and he has his face on there, like, his full face and like, on his Facebook, like there's a lot of stuff going way back for Ben on Facebook. It might not be under the same name, but like
Uh-huh.
she could have found easily like his legal name or whatever, or something, and like she could have vetted him too or asked him what his legal name was. Because hey, we're like working together. You should know like the guy she works with on TikTok, like she knows his name. She knows like she knows who he is. You know what I mean? Like Jay, like you know who she is. Like she's not like, but somebody from Reddit who like doesn't, his name was like Benny and the Monsters or whatever on Facebook. Wouldn't you be
Uh-huh.
like, hey, like actually, who are you though?
Right.
Yeah, when you're somebody that's supposed to be, so legitimate and you're attaching yourself. And they had, plans for like the Crocs and everything. Like he might have made it probably like in one of the news articles or, eventually if we didn't out him, like he probably would have been
He would have kept
publicly
worming his
facing
way in there.
too. Hmm. Yeah, that was the plan. So it's just crazy.
So that is the history of Benjamin Scott Thulis.
Yeah, and you can always like reach out to any of the mods at the Guilty of Crime Snark subreddit if you like have any questions about any of it. Like we'll answer it. We just want to keep sure it's like, I mean, make sure it's factual. Sorry, I messed up those words, but you know what I mean.
Yes,
Yeah,
we want
totally
to
answer questions
be
if you
good
have them.
internet historians
Yes.
and document everything as it happened correctly with the screenshots and not fabricate some sort of, rewriting of history that just didn't happen, which is
Yeah.
what Jay is trying to do. She's going to try to do it on Tuesday. We're going to see what she says, and we will revisit that when it gets here.
Yeah, definitely. And I know there's some like screenshots and stuff that we could probably share as well for some of this that we haven't yet. So,
These, you know, discussion videos like this, they are not getting taken down even when they get reported. So I think this might have to be how YouTube is. And then all the other stuff we can, all the receipts we can either put on Rumble or we can put on the subreddits.
yeah, hopefully someday that changes, but
Absolutely.
yeah.